What's up, everybody? This is Pete from Focoso Films. What we're going to be going over is my top 5 mistakes to avoid when you are filming. Let's get to it. Alright, here we are. So just before we get started, I do want to say a lot of these will seem very broad and common sense. And in fact, they are. They are mistakes that I have made a lot of times when you're on a shoot, and especially, this could be when you're just starting out and you're by yourself and you don't have a team around you. That can be very tough because you're operating the camera and then you're also worrying about sound, you're kind of directing, and you're thinking about post-production as well, and there's a lot going on at one time, and these mistakes can get in the way of your flow, your efficiency, and then ultimately what you're delivering to the client. So with that being said, let's get to it. So number 1 is know what you're filming and where. Discuss ahead of time and work out how you would like the setup for each day to go to maximize everything. Make sure you ask your clients what ideas that they might have, because a lot of times they're not going to express them when you're first talking with them. They don't know what's involved. They don't know what it takes to do a video. For most people, a 5-minute video takes 5 minutes. So when you're sitting down and talking with your client, and just say as an example it's a play or it's something with a script, well, you want to get your hands on that play, on that script, so you know the individual scenes, and that can help you know ahead of time what action shots you want to get, where you want to position yourself, where you want to be when something's happening, and then you can go scene by scene later on and plan out your shot list. Many people will, unfortunately, try to add things in as they're going and not realizing that these are all things that you want to know ahead of time. Number 2 is always find a way to create redundant audio and video. Here's an example for audio. Just say you are running your sound through a soundboard and you're recording it into like a Zoom external recorder. That's going to be your main audio files. You also want to make sure that on your camera, preferably probably a stationary camera that's getting like the whole room, that you have your external mic hooked up and you're getting any sound that you think you want to capture. Have that thing on all the time, even if you think, I'm never going to use it. Why? Because just say there's a failure in getting the audio to the Zoom shuts off, the soundboard has an issue, any of these things are probable when you are out and about. You're going to want to have that redundant audio and video just in case. So always make sure that you have that redundant backup of audio and video. So let's go into number 3. It's kind of along the same lines in a way, but you always want to check your audio and your video to make sure you have captured exactly what you want. The worst thing to do is to just run and gun and then just hope that you are capturing what you want to capture. When you get back home into your studio and you're sitting down looking at those files and they're not what you thought they would be, this is why you want to make sure that on the set you are checking those files before you move on. You want to be in control of the audio and the video and the outcome of those things. I would rather that you inconvenience the client on the day of the shoot for an extra couple minutes to get that shot that didn't come out right or get that audio just a little bit better than having to call up and go in the next day. I think in the long run, when they see the product and they see what you can deliver, they're going to be so glad that you took that time. Number 4 is organize your files and name them correctly so you can easily find them. This can be very, very important when you are sitting down to edit in post-production. If you have SD cards over here and you were just throwing them in your pocket and just popping them in on different cameras and then switching the cameras and the cards, and then you have your external monitor going and you have that and you're just putting that on different cameras, and when you get home you just have a mess. You need to make sure that when you're filming, you know each card, that is what each card is capturing, and when you get home, go through those, watch them, label them. If you're syncing your audio and you have separate audio and video files and you need to sync those, put those, each shot, put those with their own audio into a file, and so you know when you go into shot A, you're gonna have your video from multiple camera angles maybe, and your audio, and it's all right there. To take it a little step further, also make sure, kind of along the redundant audio and video, make sure that you're uploading your information, all your data, onto a hard drive and your computer, so that if your computer goes corrupt, you at least have that backup. There's a lot of things that you can do in post with special effects and things like that, but unless you have a Hollywood budget where you can put someone's face on someone else's body, if you miss the shot, you don't have it. So always make sure that you are thinking ahead about the what ifs. And those aren't always the fun parts, but they are the parts that can certainly save you. Make sure that you're pulling off of the same source when you're working in your editor. So you're in DaVinci Resolve and you have all your files in there, and you were using your hard drive, and then you take a break and you have to use your hard drive for something else, and you come back and now you sit down at Resolve, and Resolve is giving you that red, error message that we all hate to see, and it's saying, I don't have the files, I don't know where they are. Now you have to go and relink and find them and pull them in, and it's a whole hassle. So pick whether it's the computer or the hard drive that you're going to be using the whole way through. It's just going to make your life a little bit easier. So on to number 5, only buy or rent equipment that you know you'll need. Try to stick with being very specific for the needs of each shoot, while maybe getting a couple extra things that you know you might need for that purpose. It's going to look very professional when you show up and you have exactly what you need and you don't have all this extra things. So here's a quick illustration of that. Again, a mistake not to make. The thing that I've always learned is you want to control your lighting. And so I was in a big giant room with fluorescent lights. They looked horrible, and I said, I need big lights to fill up this room and really make this look so much nicer. In this particular instance, I was working with large groups of kids and teachers. It would have added so much time and effort to move this stuff around and get it set up, than to play with it in post and give it a nice look. And so I had all this extra equipment, but it didn't really help me. I ended up not using it at all, and I had all this extra equipment that I didn't even use. That's on you as the videographer, making sure that, again, you are only buying or renting what you need. Tip or bonus number 1 is make sure you're thinking about your clients and who you are working with and what will ultimately serve them. Know your end result, know your game, know what you're doing when you go in there and what you're going to need to get. You don't want to have take 20 when it's one simple line and they got it and it looks good. So always be thinking about your client, who you're working with, and that's the whole reason that you're there, is to serve them and give them a great product that they're proud of, you're proud of, and that's going to be that relationship that will take you further in the long run. They're going to come back to you. Tip number 2, if you have 2 cameras running, always think of, where's my camera going to be? Where am I in relation to my camera? Am I going to mess up the shot? These are ways to start thinking beyond just the fun tech stuff and the big lights and all the big camera stuff and everything. These are the things that are going to make you stand out, because you're going to arrive and you're going to know exactly what you need to do and how to do it. The fun part is knowing is you, and that's what you're bringing to that set. If you appreciated all this, hit that subscribe and that like button. Well, as always, this is Pete from Focoso Films. Stay creative.